Hello, this is a tutorial that is called the Learnia, and you can get access right here, thelearnia.com. What this allows you to do is to create awesome video lessons. So although I'm going to talk about in this tutorial from an instructor's point of view, the ability to do a flipped classroom environment, some blended learning, create a mini lecture situation. Understand that students could also use this as well to for various activities. Maybe they could explain meaning in some concept, demonstrate understanding. Would work great for reflection. They could use it to clarify thinking or to compare and contrast. So the Learnia is free. It works on both Macs and PCs in order to create the lessons. Playback can also be done on mobile devices. I've actually played it back, the finished product, have played it back on an iPad, so I would imagine it would work on an Android tablet as well. So basically what you have here is a platform, and really here's the 3 steps here. Plan what you want in the lesson, then you're going to record it, and then you have various ways to share it. So before you get started, you have to create an account, and you have a number of different ways to do that. I just created it with my Baker email address. So you'll click here. You will register if you don't have an account yet. After that, you will go to this particular spot and sign in, which I will do right now. So once you've signed in, you'll see your name up here in the top. You actually can put a profile picture in there if you would like, but you don't have to. So it's just as simple as clicking on Create Lesson, and it will open up your stage. Now you have 3 different types of starting points for your lesson. You can get where you need to get to from any of them, and I recommend at the beginning, the first time you try to do one of these, is to just check all 3 to determine what's the best way to go. In the first one, you have access to various templates. In the free version, there's not a lot of templates there, but if you just have no idea where to start, you could click here and you can just choose one of these templates. And so basically you can see it's essentially a slide deck that is going to give you ideas of what you would put on each one of these slides. Now the idea here is to put together some concepts, a lesson, things that you would want, if you're the instructor, that you would want students to kind of work their way through. We're going to have the ability to add things to the slides as well as record everything that we're going to actually do. So we can see the mouse movements, the clicks, anything else that we're going to add in. We can use voice over the top of this or not use voice. And then all we have to do is start recording, which we'll do that in a second. Over here you have the ability to do some flipping of some images and so forth that you might put on there. And so I can just, click in any of these boxes and go ahead and make my changes, create my presentation based on this being a template or a guide. The second choice here is upload a file. This essentially is just a spot where you can upload a PowerPoint so that you can pop that into your virtual whiteboard here. And it tells you, note, due to your computer processing power limitations, we'll only import a maximum of 15 slides. So that tells you 2 things. First of all, you only have 15 minutes of actual recording time when you're going to record a lesson. So if you're going to need more than that, you're going to want to chunk it or break it into different parts. So have a part 1 and a part 2 if you need more than 15 minutes. Also, the fact that you're limited to 15 slides that it's going to import. Now, you can add additional slides once you get beyond 15, but think about that for a moment. If you're going to have more than 15 slides, but you're only allowed 15 minutes for the total presentation, you're going to have to be rapidly moving through those slides, and it's going to start looking maybe like a moving picture if you're going to start doing 15-20 seconds per slide. That might be too quick, so just something to keep in mind. So you can go into uploading this PowerPoint presentation, and I placed one here somewhere. Let me find it here. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. There's my PowerPoint. And it's going to take a few seconds, maybe up to a minute, depending on how large the PowerPoint is, to actually load and upload this particular slide deck into your Learnia app. Okay, so my slide deck has popped in. Now this one happens to only be 2 slides. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the tools and so forth, and I'm going to show you in the third different type of way to actually create a Learnia presentation, how to do this. But I could add another slide to this deck right here by clicking on this plus sign. I also have the ability to use these tools to actually do things, and again, the recording part of this, if I wanted to start actually working through the lesson, using my voice, using some of the tools over here and advancing my slide deck, I could go ahead and do that. So I've gone back out to the start page just to show you when you're creating a lesson this third option called use blank. Personally, I think that's the most powerful, because if you already kind of have an idea of what you want to do, if in other words, that plan stage that they talked about, if you have an idea or you've done a few of these before, you probably don't ever need to use the select the template. That might be for the first one, just so you get a handle on it and know some of the things that you can do, and kind of more or less your maiden voyage, if you will. Uploading a PowerPoint is not a bad way to get started, but I want to show you the use blank type of formatting or startup mode. So this allows you to do a blank presentation. Now, one of the things, just so you don't panic, it's like, oh my God, I had this great slide deck that I wanted to use. Well, you still have the ability to do that, because that same upload button is part of this whole blank slide area. So I have the ability to basically do that same, bring that same PowerPoint in, which I will do right now. Okay, so just like in the previous type of starting point, with the upload, I have my PowerPoint presentation loaded on the stage. You can see here we have the 2 slides that we can toggle back and forth between. If I decide that there is something that I don't want this particular slide in the presentation anymore, so I have a bunch of them. I do have a trash can icon here, and I also have the ability to duplicate a particular slide if I want to move it forward and use it again. So let's look at some of the other tools that we have here. First of all, over here and to the right, we got the undo and redo, just like you normally would in any other type of software package. We have the trash can, we have a paste element, and we have a copy element, just like you do in a lot of other applications. And then we already talked about these previously. This would be if you're using an image, you could flip it horizontally, flip it vertically. A couple of things on the stage, you could send certain things to the front or the back so that you kind of have a little level of the depth. Over here in the left toolbar, if you have something that you place on the stage on one of your slides, you actually can click the move tool and then grab that and move that to a different location so it's not permanently fixed there. You have a pen tool in some different colors, which allows you to write, draw, annotate on the slide. A line tool is like a pen tool, but it keeps things nice and straight, so you can actually make like a connection between 2 points. Text gives you a text box where you can actually then add some text, again in a number of colors and in some different sizes, to a slide in your slide deck. The shapes area allows you to draw various types of shapes. So that might be something like a geometry class or something like that. might be interesting, or if you needed to mock up maybe some packaging, there might be some uses for that there. Adding an image, so you have choices to add an image, either some predetermined shapes that they already have here. These are some free images that you can use, colors and in the kind of black and white arc here. There's also searching on the web, where you could, you could search for some particular image you're looking for. You can put a background to your slide deck if you don't like where you're at, or maybe you're going to add this background just to that individual slide that you're going to add in. And then finally, you can upload images right from your machine. So you may already have an image saved that would be relevant and important for you to use. And again, the start recording, which we're going to do here in a second. So that's pretty much all the toolbars and their uses. So when we're done with our recording, we're going to have some saving and some sharing options. So we'll talk about that in a bit. So let's go ahead and kind of annotate what we have going on here. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to start the recording. So it's going to want us to I'll approve the microphone connection, which I'm going to do here. Now notice it starts counting down. Remember, you have 15 minutes, and so it's going to capture everything from an audio component as well as what I'm doing on the screen. Now you notice my mouse, when I move my mouse around, there's kind of a yellow dot that follows where the mouse is going to transverse on my slide deck. This item right here, this image, allows me to turn that off. I don't know why you would want to do that, but there might be some particular reason that you would want to do that. Maybe if you had a yellow background like that colored yellow dot, you're not going to see that anyway. And I haven't been able to figure out how to change the color dot, so maybe that's one reason. But for the most part, I'm going to leave this on. There's also the microphone here. I could actually mute the microphone if for whatever reason we just wanted them to watch something or to look at something on this particular slide and think about it and didn't want my voice over the top. But I'm going to leave that on as well for right now. So I have the ability, let's say I can add a text box somewhere, and I have the ability to drag this out to change the sizes and so forth. And I can go ahead and type in here. Be nice if I could spell. And you can see there that what I was typing was larger than the box, so I can just adjust the box. So maybe I like this, but I don't like the location. I can go over here and click Move, and then I can drag this someplace that I think it's more important. The pen tool, you may have, if you've used any other digital whiteboard, you're going to be familiar with some of these things. I have various thicknesses of the pen as well as various colors. Now, if I didn't want this text that I put here in black, I can actually come up here and change my pen to a different color and then go back and use the text box. And let's say if I change it to red or green, the text would actually be in that color. So I have the ability to change the color of the text as well. These are thicknesses of the line, going from very thin to, if I was going to do something like this thickness with a yellow, that would be something I could use for kind of like a highlighting situation if that's what I was attempting to do. Otherwise, changing it to a different color and a thinner mark allows me, to do something. Maybe I can use it to underline if that's what I want to do. Okay. The line, as I said, it just allows you to keep something nice and straight and clean looking if that's what you need. We talked about the text box. Shapes, we have various types of shapes that we can draw. Again, the shape itself is going to be whatever that color is that I have here. So I have the ability to change colors to whatever it is that I want to do. Images have the ability to upload an image. Maybe a way to show that a little easier is if I come over here and add an additional slide. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to upload an image. And remember those places that I said we can get? Well, I'm going to go to my desktop itself, and I'm going to grab an image right from that. So I'm going to grab this image here and load this. So maybe this is a situation where I'm doing something in a math class. And so I want to have a lesson and show maybe how I'm going to plot something. So I could, create a text box here first and say plot 2 minus 3. Okay. So then I'm going to go here and grab my pen tool, and maybe I want to show both, the X and Y axis. And so I say, okay, so the first thing I'm going to do when I'm going to solve this, or actually do that, is to find my X axis. Here's my 0, 0, and then I'm going to go over to +2, and then I'll just make a little mark right there. And now again, remember, if I want students to do this, I could actually have students demonstrate that they know how to do this particular concept. So the next thing is the -3 on the y-axis. So here's my y-axis, my 0, 0 point, and negative is below here. So 1, 2, 3. So then I could make my little mark to show that I understand where that is. And then I would talk about the intersection, which is going to put that mark right here. Okay, so just an example of something that I might want to do with an image. We talked about using these tools to annotate not only your slide deck, but any images that you may happen to bring in as well. So when we're all set, let's assuming that we're done with the lesson, we have the ability to pause our playback, and it's going to auto pause the playback whenever you're drawing something here. You're not going to see this as you're drawing, but notice how it's continued to record. I have the ability to pause at any particular point and then just go ahead and continue to replay it in case I want to stop for a minute, catch my breath, maybe go find another image or something like that that I want to do, maybe change up the lesson a little bit at that point. So let's say I'm done. I'm going to pause my recording. And it tells you down here, recording is paused. Please click the record button to resume recording. But maybe I'm all said and done. So I can go up here to the preview save button here. Looks like a little disc. And it's going to take a couple of seconds to generate my lesson, and it's going to start playing right away. So I'm just going to pause it. It auto plays, so as soon as the lesson opens, it's going to start playing. So I can review the lesson at this particular point, see what it looks like. If it's exactly what I need, then I'm good, then I can save the lesson. Or if I'm not happy with it, I can actually start over. Allows me to record the audio without losing anything that I already have on the slide deck. So you're just kind of overwriting the audio. So that's not a bad deal. Or when I go back into my account, if I don't want it at all, I actually have the ability to delete it. I don't have to have it there at all. And again, I can always keep it. Maybe I'm going to go back to it later. I don't have to do anything about it right now. So I'm going to save my lesson. You actually have two places where you can do that. You can go here, or you can do save my lesson up here. So I'm going to give my my lesson a particular name. So maybe it's ABC 1010 intro chapter 1, whatever it is. And again, if students are doing this, it might be maybe their last name, and then it might be 1010 presentation, final part, or whatever. So you're going to have your name and email is already going to be in there. You can put some tags in there. That's not important. But you're going to now just hit publish. And it's going to take and do the publishing. It's going to upload and render your files. And then depending on the size and how much, obviously you're only going to have a total of 15 minutes, but the number of images that you might have, how sophisticated your PowerPoint slides are, that can add more bytes. So sometimes this might take a little bit of time. And so it's already processed the lesson itself. Now it's going to process the audio component. So I'll pause and wait for it to do that. So as you can see, it has finished its publishing. And I do have some options here. I can share it, which allows me to get a link that I can email to people. This is probably what your student is going to do if a student is using this. Or you can use it as well, because maybe what you want is just the link. Or you can actually come down in here to grab the embed code. And then if you have this, just going to copy this, and maybe you take it over to your Blackboard shell, create another thread, call it, lesson 1, whatever. And you're going to go into this little icon here, which is insert, edit, embedded media. Move this over here so you can see, go to source, paste my embed code, go back to general, and hit insert. Now hit submit. And now my entire lesson is in here. And all a student has to do is just click the little play arrow, and he or she is good to go. So again, this is called the Learnia. You can get access to it at theLearnia.com. You need to sign up for an account. It allows you to create awesome video lessons, maximum time 15 minutes. You can start with your own or a publisher's slide deck and upload it. You can only bring in 15 slides. You can add additional slides beyond that if you would like. You can start with a template. You can start with a PowerPoint presentation, or you can start with a blank screen, import a slide deck, and then do all types of annotations and so forth. You also have the ability to record the voice, record the screen, annotate the screen, create nice little mini lectures. Again, both student and the faculty can use this tool. Thank you.